Focus. Ideate. Innovate. Enable.
Hello and welcome to the 9th edition of the Emerging India Awards, India's largest SME initiative to recognize and honor India's best SMEs. As always, joining us on this special conversation is Chanda Kochhar. Chanda, appreciate you joining us once again on CNBC TV 18. It is that time of the year when we have our conversation about where SMEs in India stand today, but it's a very different context. It's been a difficult year as far as the macroeconomy is concerned. How hard is it going to be to find India's best SMEs?
Well, you can always find best SMEs, but yes, I think what we're going to look for this year is the ability of those SMEs to find their resilience in this economic environment. Because if you look at the environment today, I think the SMEs are going through multiple challenges. You know, the issue of elongated working cycles, the issue of increased costs, the issue of, you know, reduced profitability and having to face a volatile environment. So I think what we will look for is how have the SMEs been able to adjust their business models to find those efficiencies in their operations.
And it's been much harder for SMEs, hasn't it, in comparison to the big guys, because just in terms of lending rates, I mean 15–16% as far as the SMEs are concerned. So it's been much tougher for the smaller players in the business.
I think it's always, you know, the fact that the smaller players face the change in a more extreme manner, whether upside or downside. So yes, the interest rates impact them, and then when you combine the interest rates with elongated working cycles, you know, it actually impacts even more, because if you see, liquidity around the system is tight, payment cycles are getting stretched. So yes, indeed it has been tough, but I must say, to the credit of the SMEs in India, they have in this tough environment you know, work towards finding better and better business models and finding operational efficiencies.
What is the one thing that you've noticed in the SMEs that you've seen or observed post 2008? Let's not just talk about what we've seen happen in the last 12 to 24 months, but 2008, when the crisis, in a sense, in the global financial world started. What are the differences that you're seeing in the way that SMEs are addressing some of these challenges?
So two major differences. One is that they are actually willing to look at their operational models almost from a zero base. So, you know, not just looking at minor improvements and minor tinkling here or there, but actually seeing how can they kind of rechange their internal processes entirely and bring out more efficiencies. The other thing that I've seen is that they are actually going out there and looking for new markets.
Right.
Newer markets within India, that is penetrating India more and more, newer markets outside of India, and you know, seeking those opportunities.
Is that by way of partnerships? Is it through M&A? Because we have actually seen a lot of M&A activity take place even as far as the Indian SME sector is concerned. What is the trend that you're observing?
Yes, indeed, it is partly M&As, it is much larger partnerships, it is collaborations, not just, you know, horizontally, but even vertically. So working, you know, very closely with the large corporates that they deal with, and working across the value chain to create that value across the entire supply chain.
You know, let me now talk to you about what we are seeing as far as the economy is concerned, because the fortunes of the SME sector, in a sense, are directly linked to the fortunes of the Indian economy. It's been the second successive year of an under 5% GDP growth. You know, we can quibble about whether it will be 5, 5.3 or 5.5. The point is that at this point in time, the headwinds continue to be fairly rough. What's your sense about the economy? Are you seeing any indications of green shoots? Are you seeing any indications of a recovery or a revival at this point in time?
I think the biggest issue that we are facing today is really lack of investments, you know, taking place, or newer investments taking place. And I think that is the result of the fact that decisions are not actually taking place, in the sense that the projects that have been implemented, almost completed implementation, half implemented, are yet not seeing cash flows being generated, and that's because speedy approvals are not coming in, and that's really brought down.
Has the CCI not made any significant difference? Because we get to hear from ground that at least as far as some of the large infrastructure projects are concerned, with the CCI coming into the picture, it has made a difference. But you're not seeing that today?
No, I can again put that in context. So indeed CCI is moving, decisions are taking place, but finally what happens is that if a project needs 10 approvals, then only 9 approvals don't help. You know, the 10th approval has to also come in for the project to start generating cash flows, and sometimes there's, you know, some approvals come at the central level, but then they again get stuck at the state level and so on. Or you have the power project that is complete, but you haven't got your approvals for mines, so it doesn't matter even if you say that my power project is complete, because I cannot operate it if I don't have the mines. So I think while decisions are taking place, we have not yet seen the full impact in a very comprehensive manner on many projects. So indeed it is a fact that a lot of investment is kind of put on the ground but not generating cash flows, and I think that's creating the kind of, you know, financial impact or the liquidity impact in the economy. But on the other hand, I must say that there are, you know, some things that are actually moving in a good direction. I think a big positive for our economy in the last few months has really been the way the current account deficit has turned around. The capital flows that have come in, the way imports have gone down, exports have gone up.
So do you believe we are less vulnerable today as far as things like the current account deficit are concerned? Even on the fiscal deficit, the finance minister has made it absolutely clear it will be 4.8 and he's not going to allow that red line to be breached in any fashion. Are we less vulnerable today to external shocks, for instance the QE taper?
So I think the current account deficit and the way the capital flows have come in have provided that, you know, some kind of buffer in that direction for us. As you rightly said, fiscal deficit, you know, it seems to be almost very clear that we'll be on target. The other positive is that agriculture is actually doing better now. Export sector is doing better now. So I think these are the positives that have emerged. The whole QE impact, we will have to actually watch. I think it will bring about volatility in the financial markets, and it can have some impact off and on India as well.
How concerned are you? How concerned
are you? But you know, my belief is that QE tightening or not, I think our final whatever solution lies in our own domestic growth. Just view it in this context that 2 or 3 years ago, when the developed economies were struggling to grow at even 1%, we were growing at 9%. We had an 8% differential compared to the developed economies. Today, we are struggling to get to 5%, and the developed economies are talking of getting back to 3% and so on. So where is the growth differential? There's hardly any growth differential. We have to actually focus on taking our domestic growth to much higher levels, and if we do that, then even if there are a few lesser dollars in the global economy, we will get you know, flows coming into India.